Well, in breaking news this morning, Vodaphone has been handed a £4.6 million fine for a catalogue of failures in its UK business. Offcom has concluded 2 investigations into how the network handles complaints and its delivery of services to pay-as-you-go customers. Well, joining us now is consumer expert Jasmine Birtles. Hello, thanks very much for being with us. It's a huge fine, isn't it? Just what went wrong for Vodaphone, a company that so many of us use, but it's really not been good for them, has it?
No, it is apparently the most complained about mobile company. It's happened for over the last few years. People have complained about all sorts of things, like trying to get out of contracts, not being allowed to, even though they really should have been allowed to. Their mobile network not working over and over, people not being able to use their phones. And one of the biggest complaints is the way their complaints have been handled. They've been trying to get through to people, they haven't heard back. So finally, a lot of these complaints have gone to Offcom, and they're kind of the final place. And they've said, we've had too many complaints, you need to be fined.
So essentially a victory for the consumer, or is it? I mean, Vodafone are being fined £14.6 million, which sounds a lot, but they make billions every year. Yeah. The customer sitting at home who's had no joy with them complaining, will anything change for them today?
To be honest, who knows? You know, maybe if, as you say, Vodafone makes a lot of money, and they might take the view of, well, there you go, you know, we'll just cope with it. I hope not, because, you know, in the long term, the point of their existence is to look after their customers. So if they're not doing that, that is going to harm them in the long term. Shareholders are very happy on the whole with Vodafone. They feel that it's a solid business. But if you're constantly dealing badly with your customers, over time, it's not going to be a solid business. So it's bad for business if they do that.
So what advice have you got for customers who are struggling with Vodafone still, or perhaps feel they're not getting the service that they require?
Well, first of all, do complain, write letters. If you don't get any help in the actual shops, because sometimes you can go into the shop and say, look, I've got a problem with this, and they'll deal with it then and there. But if not, write letters and keep records of what you've written, what you've said on the phone. If you speak to anybody on the phone, keep a log. I know it's a nuisance, but it really helps later on. So do keep a log. Write to the complaints department. You can escalate it as well. I've seen actually in newspapers recently, even just this week, there was in a newspaper there was a complaint they dealt with, and they'd actually escalated. They'd written to the CEO, and that can help. Now, if finally, it should take 8 weeks to sort it out. If it doesn't, or you don't have what they call a deadlock letter from Vodafone, which basically says, tough, we're not doing anything more about it, then you can go to the ombudsman. So there's communications ombudsman. They will have a look at it, and they will make a judgment that they consider fair to both sides. And if it gets to that point, I'd speak to Offcom as well.
OK, Jasmine, thank you very much. The customer is always meant to be right, aren't they?
Meant to be.
Perhaps not when it comes to Vodafone.